Hi, I'm Angela Counsel, naturopath and lifestyle coach. So welcome back. This is our third video in our series and I hope you've been enjoying the other videos. Now, if you haven't seen the first two videos in the series, then I suggest you go back and watch them because you kind of need to watch them all in sequence. The links for them are below this video. So over the last two videos, I've spoken to you about stress, the effects of stress on your health, on your well-being, and how that starts to impact your relationships, your business, and all aspects of your life, and how many women are suffering from adrenal burnout and not realizing it. I also spoke to you in the last video about getting really clear on what's important to you, on your values, and making sure that your business and your personal values are in alignment, and if they're not, where do you need to make a shift? We also spoke about your vision. What's your big vision? Where's your big picture? Where do you see your business going? And spoke about goals, how to set goals, goals being SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So I also asked you if you could make a commitment for at least one thing that you could change. So did you do that? Did you put something down in the box below? And I saw there was quite a few. I love the activity that's going on down there. So did you make that commitment? Are you prepared to make that commitment? Because is life really working for you the way it's going at the moment? Now, if it is and everything is going rosy and you're loving your life, every aspect of your life, fine. You don't need to change. Just keep doing what you're doing. But if there's parts of your life that aren't making you happy, if you're not really in love with your business, with your family, I don't mean that like you're not in love with your family, but you know, there's parts of it that you're just not enjoying, well then make change. Because life's very, very short and we only get one opportunity and you don't want to live with regrets. Could you imagine what it would be like to get to your last days to find out that, hey, you didn't live the life that you wanted to live? That you lived the life according to someone else's rules, not your rules? So you've got an opportunity to change and you can change right now. And when it comes to what you want to do, what's your strategy for life? You know, is it just go along and see what happens and just take every day as it comes and bounce from place to place? Is that your strategy? Is that strategy working for you? Because if it isn't, as I said, it's time to make change. Now, there are different strategies that you can employ in life to make sure that things go the way you want. And I mentioned in the last video, having a coach or a mentor is one really great strategy. Someone who's going to be your cheerleader, but someone who's also not going to let you get away when you just kind of think that things are a little bit too hard. Because sometimes we can be lazy. People are lazy and they don't always want to take the effort to make that change, even though they know at the other side the outcome might be great. So that's where coaches and mentors come in. Also having someone who's going to guide you, or just even a strategy, which is just to have plans in place. You need different strategies because obviously the ones that you've been using so far, if you've had any, aren't working for you. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching these videos. You're looking for change. Now, imagine if you could meet yourself in 12 months' time. Just fast forward 12 months from today. Just imagine what it would be like. Who would you want to meet? What would that person be like? Is that person going to be the exact same person that you are now? Or has that person changed? Has that person grown? Is that person happy? Or is that person still stressed? Is that person sicker than you are now? What's that person going to be like? Could you imagine what your life's going to be like in 12 months' time? Are you going to be proud to meet yourself in 12 months' time? Or is it just going to be more of the same, same? What do you need to do to make yourself be proud when you walk up and introduce yourself in 12 months' time to your new person? Now, in the previous video, I gave you a gift on a visualization gift, a meditation, and that took you into the future. Did you do that visualization? Did you see who you were going to be in the future? Are you proud of them? Would you be proud of them today? What action do you need to take so that when you meet yourself in 12 months' time, that you are the proudest you could ever be? That you stand there, chest puffed up, thinking, I really love the person that I've become. Think about it. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, a little bit more on the physical side of things, the physical side of stress. Now, in the first video, I spoke about what causes stress. And one of the things I spoke about was diet, the food you eat. Now, a lot of people don't think about the food they eat. They just think we need to eat food. And it doesn't really matter what food we do, so long as we fill this big gaping hole that's called our stomach. But that's not true. Our body actually doesn't require food to function. What it requires is nutrients. It's just nutrients come packaged in food. So if you're not eating foods that are high in nutrients, your body is not getting what it needs. Now, every single cell in your body, and there are trillions of cells in your body, requires nutrients to function. Every organ in your body requires nutrients to function. Every system in your body requires nutrients to function. Nutrients are what keep us alive. Now, some of the most important nutrients are oxygen, water, but there's many other nutrients. We've got vitamins, we've got minerals, we've got antioxidants. We've got all these other nutrients that come in food. And the majority of people, unfortunately in our society, are malnourished, even though they have plenty of food. I'm amazed at what I see in the public literature, in the media, and what I see that people are eating and what they're being recommended to eat. I see cancer patients who are losing weight and are just told to fill up on junk food. They fill up on ice cream and all these really high carbohydrate foods. And then I think, well, what's the point? They're not getting the nutrients. Their body is starving for nutrients. Yet their doctors are telling them to eat all this processed stuff that has no nutrients in it and it has chemicals. We need to change the way we think about our food. Our food is our fuel. I'm sure that every single one of you that is watching this video owns a car, drives a car, or has something to do with a car. Now, would you, if you owned a car that was a petrol car, would you go and put diesel fuel into your car? The answer would be no, because what would happen? Your car wouldn't go. If you put the wrong fuel into your car, it won't go. Well, guess what? If you put the wrong fuel into your body, it doesn't go either. We're lucky our bodies are high performance engines, so they're actually able to, make a few changes so that counteracts some of the poor food that gets put into our body. But our systems do start to run down. And this is a stress. This causes stress in our body. When we don't have enough nutrients going on into our body, in our diet, our bodies are stressed. So we have a stress response because starvation is actually a stress situation. If you remember in the first video, I spoke to you about being cavemen. Now let's go back to that story. Go back to that cave woman. In those times, they used to have times of feast and they used to have times of famine. There were times when there was plenty of food, times when there wasn't. And that would be a stress response. So in the times when there wasn't many foods, what the body would do is it would actually slow down the burning of fat so that we could keep our energy stores. And quite often this would be winter time where we used to store extra fat to get us through winter when there wasn't a lot of food. And then come summer when more food was available, we used to shed that fat and we used to have more energy because we were up and we were running around. That is a natural response for the body. But now living in 21st century, we have food available all of the time. We can go to the supermarket 7 days a week, 24 hours a day and get food. But if we're not giving our bodies nutrient, it thinks it's starving. It doesn't matter how much we put in there. We sit there and we put all this fast food and all this low nutrient food into our body and our body thinks it's starving. So what it does is it stores fat and it keeps holding onto the fat because it doesn't know when its next meal's coming. And it'll just continue to store the fat. And that's why we see people on these fast food diets who are obese. And they keep eating and they keep eating. And the thing is, those foods, they actually start to crave them. And because they're not getting any nutrients, they're still hungry. And it doesn't matter what they eat, they're still hungry. Because they're not putting nutrients into their food, into their mouth. They're putting food into their mouth. And their body doesn't need food, it needs nutrients. Does this make sense? So it's really important that we look at the food that we eat. Now, I know that there is a plethora of different diet and eating programs out there. But look, just keep it really, really simple. Do you need to be vegan, vegetarian, paleo, primal? What? It doesn't really matter. The type of food the program or the philosophy that I follow is jerf eating. Just eat real food. Doesn't really matter if it's vegetarian, if it's paleo, whatever. Just eat real food. Your body will tell you whether or not it likes meat or it doesn't like meat. But if you've got a diet, even if you're in a paleo style diet, you still need to be eating lots of vegetables. But not all bodies like meat, so you don't have to digest meat. And I work with my clients around that because it says, sometimes bodies are not really good at digesting food, and I use the blood type to actually help clients work that out, what type of foods they should be eating. But it doesn't matter. Eat real food. Food that comes from nature, because nature knows exactly what you need. We sit there and people say, well, we need this vitamin, and we add this vitamin to our food. Most of the added vitamins that go into foods are synthetic, and they're not in the form that our body requires. Nature knows the exact form that our body requires for it to be utilised properly. It also knows its cofactors, so it knows that certain nutrients need to go together. Things like calcium need to be found with fat, otherwise it's not going to be absorbed. And the B vitamins all need to be taken together. So when you eat foods, real foods that come from nature, they've all got all that in there. You don't have to worry about it because it's all there. Nature's delivered it to you in its own special gift. The other food or substance that most of us are deficient in is water. Key nutrient. Our bodies are 70% water. Our brains are primarily water, but the majority of people are dehydrated. They're not getting enough water in their diets, or they're eating foods which are dehydrating. They're eating all these sugary processed foods which actually draws the fluid out from our cells. Every single one of our cells requires water in it for them to function, because otherwise, if you could imagine a grape, a nice plump juicy grape, that's what a healthy cell looks like. If you think of a dried out sultana, that's what a dehydrated cell looks like. It's old, it's wrinkly, and it doesn't function. We've got so many chemical processes that need to go on in our cells, and if we don't have enough hydration, if we don't have juicy plump cells, they don't happen. So we need to be drinking enough water. And the rough idea is 2 litres a day, but everyone's different. You just need to make sure that you're getting a lot of water. If you're just consistently drinking water every single day, aim for 2 litres and see how you go. And yes, to start with, if you just start drinking more water, you're going to go to the toilet. That's because your bladder's not used to having that much water. But give it a couple of weeks and that will settle down. Just keep drinking the water. Your body just needs to flush, and it needs to learn to actually be able to take that water in. So that's the food. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is sleep. So many women in business don't get enough sleep. And look, and I'm going to tell you that I can be guilty of this at times too. It's so much easier to work at night once the kids have gone to bed and get all your work done then, and you're staying up really, really late. Now, our adrenal glands, which are our stress glands, that was what produces our adrenal hormones. We've got a little bit of a body clock, and this is a Chinese medicine thing, but we have a body clock, and different organs process or function at different times. Now, our adrenal glands, their time of rest and relaxation is between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. every single night. Now, if we're not getting enough rest, if we're not asleep during that time, our adrenal glands don't get the opportunity to recover. They don't get the opportunity to renew their cells and just have a rest. And many of us are not getting to bed until after 11 o'clock at night because we're working. So we've missed that window of our time when our adrenal glands can really rest and recuperate. That means that we're continually running on cortisol. Because to stay up that late means that we need to have cortisol, because we've got another hormone called melatonin, which is our sleep hormone, and it works in direct opposition to our cortisol. So when our cortisol levels are high, melatonin is low. When our melatonin is high, which is when we're asleep, cortisol is low. So if we're forcing ourselves to stay awake, it means we need more cortisol. So we need more cortisol. We've dropped the melatonin. And I've already told you in the first video what excess cortisol does. It means that we're storing excess fat. We're shutting down our digestion. We're changing our immune system. We're changing our blood pressure. We're doing all of these things. We're affecting our body on a physical level. And we're making ourselves sick. So the simplest thing that you can do right now, that you can actually make the commitment to do right now, is to go to bed by at the latest 10 o'clock at night and be asleep. And when you're in your rooms and when you're in your bedrooms, don't have wireless devices. Don't use your phones, don't use your iPads, don't use your wireless anything, because those wireless Wi-Fi, what we call EMRs, electromagnetic radiations, actually interfere with your sleep. So if you need a phone to wake you up for an alarm clock, at least put it onto plane mode. Ideally, it should be completely turned off and out of your room, but put it onto plane mode so you don't have the wireless activity going on. It will stop you from sleeping. There's two really simple things that you can do to reduce your stress right away. Get more sleep, so get to bed by 10 o'clock, asleep by 10 o'clock, and take the wireless devices out of your bedroom. Now, I just want to talk about exercise before I go. Exercise is important. Our bodies do need to move, but we have to be careful of the type of exercise, because I'm not saying to you right now, go out there and start running a marathon, because that will be ultra stressful for your body. And actually running is a sign of stress, because going back to our caveman time, when we used to run was when we were running away from danger. So if we spend a lot of time running, and I know there's people who love to run, but what's happening with our body is our body's seeing that as a time of threat and that we're trying to run away. Our conscious mind might know that we're running around the park. Our subconscious mind doesn't know that. It thinks we're trying to get away from danger. So it instigates a stress response, and it triggers off that whole cascade of events that I spoke about earlier. So if you're going to be, if you're already stressed, going and actually starting a running program is probably not the first place for you to go right now. Try some gentle exercise. Try some meditation, some stretching, just some walking. Just start to move. Just get some gentle movement. Things like yoga, Pilates, all those type of things. Things where you can actually get really deep breathing going on. Relaxation, gentle. That's going to help you. Not the high stress stuff. Once you've got your stress under control and you're not quite in a burnout state, maybe you can introduce some of that higher impact stuff in the future. But just keep it really, really gentle. Make sure you're breathing properly, breathing deep down, right down to your diaphragm, not up here in your shoulders, where most of us breathe when we're stressed. Now, I also want to talk about organisation. Organisation. Most of us are so busy. We've got so much going on. So how do we prioritise what we do and what we don't do? Now, if you go back to the last video, I spoke to you about values, I spoke to you about vision, and I spoke to you about goals. Now, if you have done all that work and if you know that, organisation becomes really easy. Prioritising your tasks become really easy because you start to do everything that's important to you, that's based on your values, it's based on your vision and based on your goals. You say no to the things that aren't important, and you've already decided what's important. And when you let go of those things, you've got space. If there's things that you do in your business, in your life, that you just do because you don't like it, it has to be done, well, maybe look and see, well, where can you actually delegate that to someone else? Where can you get someone else to do that work? Maybe you need to outsource it. Maybe you need to get help. But you can't do it all. You can't do it all in your business, and you can't do it all in your personal life. You need help. You need to ask for help. Now, I'm going to give you a gift for this video, and below this video, you'll find links to a special workbook that I've put together on organisation. Now, it's based on the Stephen Covey's philosophy of organising that he's written about in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about important tasks versus urgent tasks and actually prioritises everything that you do according to that. So you'll find the links to that below this video, and that's my gift to you, for you to actually just start to look at what you're doing and where you're going. Now, I'd like to get your comments below. Please keep those comments flowing. I'm loving the conversation that's going on. I really wanted to learn more about all of you. In our next video, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk to you more about what your next steps are. I'm going to talk to you about your mindset and how changing your mindset will change everything in your life. And I'm going to introduce you to the Secret Mums Business Program. So if you're ready to take the next step, and if you want to work with me or you want to join my programs, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. So Thank you very much for listening. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.